Hi everyone, and welcome to the Generalist, where security practitioners look beyond niches, silos, egos, and hopefully build their competence and credibility. My name is Ilya Umanskiy. Some time ago, I've written a book, it's an essay, if you will, which is called Asset Protection, a View from a Non-conformist. In it, I try to highlight some of the most glaring problems with asset protection, and also the fact that we can't seem to shake those problems off, and that while written around 2017, 2018, I am still baffled to see that we are continuing down this path, embracing more and more technology, building more complicated systems and environments, and yet suffer from simple, avoidable, preventable issues that unfortunately negate the rest of the more complicated systems and controls we try to put in place. In other words, they are the weakest links. So I want to start sharing with you some thoughts from that list of things that I noted, and hopefully kind of bring you back to reality of our industry. I'm not saying we're not progressing. My concern is that we are leaving behind some unresolved problems that, if not addressed, will forever haunt positive developments in our industry and positive developments and controls and protection for those whom we are charged to protect and advise. The first thing that comes to mind is this inability to properly define and prioritize assets. I've spoken about it so many times, and I notice how standard after standard, white paper after white paper continues to miss this most important feature of any security program, be it a program that is very well funded, like at Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 organizations, or a program that has a couple of people working for, let's say, either a single facility or maybe a few facilities. And so, regardless of the size of the program, and regardless of the number of people and the funding that is devoted to asset protection, if assets are not clearly defined and prioritized by criticality relative to operational loss, reputational loss, and financial loss, and also relative to business objectives, it's not possible to protect anything. It's not possible to tell a good story of what efforts you're putting into play to help the organization avoid losses. So it seems like answers often in this, about this issue, answers are often like, well, our main assets are our buildings and our people and our technology. It's all great, but that's too superficial a layer to think about. So if you say our assets are, let's say, our people and tech, right? Well, there will always be levels of criticality among people in the organization. Some people will be more critical to the organization than others. So you have to drill deeper. The same goes for other assets, tangible assets and the data assets. Not all of them will be at the same level. This is why information protection policies and classification policies have failed repeatedly, because everything was pretty much treated as equal, but it isn't. So I think we're missing a major fundamental point of looking for assets, defining them, prioritizing them relative to criticality and probability of reputational, operational, and financial loss, and impact on business objectives. We are still, in my humble opinion, at an infancy stage, and it's 2021. And some of our associations and those that claim to have started this industry, they have been in existence for years, decades, and we still can't answer one simple question. What are your mission critical assets, and how are they prioritized relative to impact on operations, reputation, finance and financials, and in relation to business objectives? We still cannot answer that question. And I dare offer this as a challenge to chief security officers in organizations where security programs are very well funded. Answer that question. Can you confidently state that your program has a very clear understanding of mission critical assets? Next point is, by all accounts, very trivial. And trivial as it may be, it's actually one of the biggest red flags that I find when I do assessments of various programs and various operations. It is striking in 2021 to find paper visitor logs at front desks of buildings when visitors come for meetings and when they need to be authenticated. So, in my humble opinion, if so much technology is developed and we have visitor management systems, we have lots of electronic tools that can easily and very inexpensively replace this legacy item, such as a paper visitor log, why do we still have them at some facilities? Why is it that in this day and age we still use this archaic, primitive, and useless control? And that has to go back to, I think, both the way organizations think about security and if they feel that this is acceptable. This is another point why I'm so critical of this trivial issue. That if an organization is okay with having a paper visitor log, that means that they're not really clearly thinking about protection of assets. They're just kind of ticking boxes. And the same goes for those people who claim to be in asset protection roles, who support continued use of this tool. So again, a challenge. If you're still using paper visitor logs, how can you possibly say that you have a good asset protection program? I'll leave you with the last point here that I believe is very timely, because Allied Universal recently acquired G4S. And what we're not addressing is a simple, sometimes understood as trivial question. Why is it that entry-level security officers are paid less than $30 US or an equivalent internationally per hour, net? Not gross, but net. Why is it that we still have low-wage people who are tasked to be the front line of an asset protection program? And I feel like it's a very good opportunity for Allied Universal and G4S to step up to the plate and demonstrate by opening maybe their books or by discussing what they're going to do about it, how they will overcome this challenge. Now, this magical number of $30 per hour, right? $30 US per hour. Net, again. Why did I come up with it? Well, because when we used to run an in-house security program, we were insistent upon separating the markup from the actual take-home pay for security officers. And we wanted to see what would be a comfortable number to reduce attrition and to increase loyalty to the program. And it seemed like through our experience, we had this number that helped an individual security officer feel more comfortable and connected with the organization, making a minimum of this dollar amount per hour. And it also helped them feel that they didn't need to go look for another job, that they were more comfortable if they wanted, even if they had an opportunity to switch to another organization, to another security guarding firm. So again, if you're running a security program, why is it that you're paying security officers at the front line less than $30 net per hour? Why? And how can you possibly look in the eye of those people whom you're charged to protect and advise and can justify paying a low wage to a person or to a group of people who actually are your frontline eyes and ears? And yet, after me having mentioned those 3 points, we beat ourselves on the chest and we talk about how great we are at adopting digital transformation. We're talking about achievements in cybersecurity. None of these things really fundamentally matter until you've solved these simple problems. So I leave you with these thoughts. Thank you very much, as always, for your attention. And I always welcome your comments. Thank you. Stay well.